And it is day 236 of the second Trump administration. It has been an overwhelming, challenging, difficult, emotional week. So let's take a deep breath together and break down all that's happened and why it matters. After a day and a half search, authorities say they have caught the suspect in the killing of Charlie Kirk. 22-year-old Tyler Robinson from Utah is in custody this evening. The county attorney plans to file official charges early next week. Investigators say it was his family that turned him in. My colleague Morgan Chesky lays out how it happened.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We got him.
Tonight, after a manhunt that lasted just 33 hours, police say they've caught the suspect who assassinated conservative activist Charlie Kirk. 22-year-old Tyler Robinson, arrested for suspicion of aggravated murder and other charges. Authorities say his family turned him in.
A family member of Tyler Robinson reached out to a family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident.
Law enforcement sources tell NBC News that family member was Robinson's own father, who contacted a family friend, identified as a minister, and that's when local sheriffs were alerted. Robinson lives in Washington County, Utah, and is currently a student at Dixie Technical College, where he's in the electrical apprenticeship program.
Congratulations.
Video from 2021 shows Robinson reading a scholarship letter from Utah State University, which he attended for one semester.
Approximately $32,000.
Utah's governor says family members told them Robinson recently brought up Charlie Kirk's upcoming visit to the Utah Valley University's campus, saying he did not agree with him.
In the conversation with another family member, Robinson mentioned Charlie Kirk was coming to UVU. They talked about why they didn't like him and the viewpoints that he had.
And tonight, police revealing more evidence uncovered in their investigation, including taunting inscriptions written on 3 unfired rounds they recovered. One of them reading, "Hey fascist, catch," followed by arrow symbols. Another with the lyrics of an anti-fascist song from Italy.
That's a piece of evidence that is not normal, and so it shows there was some kind of intent there to deliver a message.
Investigators also interviewed Robinson's roommate, who showed the messages they say Robinson wrote on the platform Discord, saying he needed to retrieve a rifle left behind.
A message referring to having left the rifle wrapped in a towel. The messages also refer to engraving bullets.
Discord tonight saying it has found no evidence that the suspect planned this incident or promoted violence on Discord. This morning, President Trump announcing the arrest.
I think with a high degree of certainty, we have him in custody.
The head of Utah's DPS telling me their investigation is far from over.
Is it your belief that Robinson is the sole perpetrator in this case?
We are very confident that Robinson was the only shooter at this scene.
Authorities say Robinson arrived on campus earlier than initially thought at 8:29 a.m. wearing a T-shirt and shorts, only to leave and return in a different outfit, the same one seen in these enhanced photos, and then again later when authorities say Robinson ran and jumped off a nearby roof to escape. Authorities say video near the scene shows Robinson drove a Dodge Challenger to the campus. Today at the family home, a Challenger was seen parked in the driveway. Tonight, family, friends, and neighbors left stunned.
And I feel for his mom. I love Amber. She's a great mom, and he has a great dad.
With that, let's get smarter with the help of our lead-off panel tonight and try to make some sense of this. Peter Baker is here, Chief White House Correspondent for the New York Times. MSNBC Senior White House Correspondent, the great Vaughn Hilliard. MSNBC legal analyst, Christy Greenberg. She's a former federal prosecutor and former SDNY Criminal Division Deputy Chief. And Jim Kavanaugh joins us, retired ATF Special Agent in Charge and former hostage negotiator for the ATF. He's also an MSNBC terrorism analyst. Jim, you know we're turning to you first. Last night, authorities made it clear they needed help from the public, and it was the suspect's own family that ended up turning him in. What do you think about how this played out?
Well, that's good police work. You know, on the Unabomb case, I worked on that case on and off for 17 years. What solved that was releasing the letter and writings of the Unabomb, and his brother recognized it. So it was good police work. They tried at first to do some facial recognition, maybe see if they could be identified around the campus. But he lived, 3.5 hours away, so they weren't successful with that. It was smart that they put it out right away, Steph, so that was a good move. this assassin, like many others, is like a spider, and somebody comes into his web in his area. This happened with the shooter in Butler, Pennsylvania. He lived 1 county away. He'd been researching Biden and the Attorney General, and here comes the president 1 county away, or the president-elect, and he fires at him. So this is the case here. Charlie Kirk comes into his web. It was Lee Harvey Oswald. He only had the job 30 days at the book depository when the motorcade was announced after that, and there he was. So that happens. Many, many cases happen like that, and this is another one. So it's good police work to get them that quick, because I think what does damp down this stuff is you're not going to get away, and a sniper wants to get away. That's part of the reason he uses that technique, Steph.
He uses that technique, but it sounds like he had very little experience, this young man. Christy, from a legal side, walk us through what prosecutors are looking at now. What charges could the alleged assassin face?
So it sounds like this suspect is facing state charges and not federal charges, and that those state charges include murder, causing bodily injury with a weapon, as well as obstruction of justice. It sounds like they have a very strong case already. You have a very strong case that they have the right person, because you have a confession, and the confession is to a reliable witness, his own father. You have surveillance images that match his description, and when they apprehended him, he was wearing clothing that matched the clothing that he was found with at the scene. They have the suspected murder weapon. They have messaging apps from an account with his name that talks about a rifle being left in a bush wrapped in a towel. And sure enough, the rifle here was found wrapped in a bush in a towel. You also have the motive in talking to family members, where they're saying that he mentioned Kirk coming to Utah and that he thought Kirk was full of hate, as well as the motive of the inscriptions on these casings. So all of that is building a strong case that, one, they have the right person, and two, that he's the person that actually, committed this murder. So already they have a strong case. The key thing that they need to do right now is focus on the evidence and try this in a court of law and not in a court of public opinion.
Peter, the president basically broke the news himself on morning television. He said there's a suspect in custody. Do you have any sense on how this came together, that it was the president even notifying America?
Well, look, this is a president who likes to be the announcer of news in general. I mean, he sort of revels in that to begin with. And in this case, he was told the results of the arrest shortly before going on Fox and Friends in the morning, and he decided he would go ahead and break that news. And look, it's partly a reflection as well of his relationship with Charlie Kirk. This is a really important figure in the MAGA movement. His death, I think, affected the president in a personal way, as it naturally would. It affected his son, Don Jr., who was very close to Charlie Kirk. It affected J.D. Vance, who was very close to Charlie Kirk. People in the White House had tears in their eyes and were quite shocked by all this. So I think for him to be able to announce the arrest was a matter of, validation. We've got him, as Spencer Cox, the governor, said. And it's his style, President Trump's style, to be the front and center on this kind of thing.
Vaughn, given how close this administration is or was with Charlie Kirk, the last few days have been extraordinarily tense, anger-fueled within this administration. Is there a sense of relief tonight, now that the suspect has been arrested?
Absolutely, and we heard that from Capitol Hill. Look, this is a president that said he intends to go to the funeral of Charlie Kirk just south of Utah in Arizona, where Charlie Kirk was living with his family. There was, of course, lawmakers that were seeking to hold campaign events around the country, return to Congress. Of course, he also wanted to hold what he said would be a big event for this Presidential Medal of Freedom ceremony, giving Charlie Kirk the highest civilian honor at an undetermined time. And so the fact that there was somebody out there for that period of time, understanding that he had such intentionality as targeting Charlie Kirk, of course, it raised the specter of concern here. And I think that is where, for the White House, There was, of course, the immediate sense of anger, and I think that it is understandable, the human nature, to turn to anger to watch the assassination of a loved one, of somebody that played such a prominent political role here. And I think that we have seen much of that really come to the forefront over the last 36 hours.
Jim, there is still so much we do not know about the suspect, and we don't want to speculate. But he is not fitting a profile, from what we understand, that many were assuming he would. What is your reaction to what we do know about this young man at this point?
Well, you know, he kind of a little bit fits into some of the mold, Steph, because, look, like I talked about the spider web, some of these guys are so much opportunists. Sirhan is another example. We could go on and on. They only get the opportunity because someone in their mind, in their targeted mind, comes close to them. And these guys were all young. You know, Oswald was 24. You can go to Arthur Bremer, the early 20s. You know, this guy's 22. The guy in Butler was 21. They're young people. That does fit the mold. And they're not exactly extremely talented. This guy probably fired a hunting rifle when he was young. He lived on the Utah-Arizona border. I'm sure he was a hunter and shooter. There's pictures of him when he was a teenager with guns. It's pretty common in that area of the West. Not unusual at all and nothing evil about it. So he probably had some experience. And with that rifle at 175 yards, Steph, with a scope, that's not a hard shot. And I would say he wasn't aiming for the neck. Nobody would. He would probably aim right for the head, and the bullet dropped a little bit. He almost missed. I mean, a few more inches to the Mr. Kirk's left, he would have missed him. So it wasn't any tremendous shot. He was just using a rifle that takes down big game, a 30-06, takes down a deer and an elk and a bear, and it's a devastating wound. So he's not that sharp. I mean, he's telling people he did it. He's putting on the web, you know, where he left the rifle. He's not any, you know, arch criminal mind or anything. He's just a radical fanatic who, you know, took an American's life trying to kill free speech. And, you know, that's it.
Christy, talk about the spotlight that is now on the Utah prosecutors and what it must be like to be in that position. The whole world is watching, and people want this man to be, if it's him, to be punished for what he's allegedly done.
Right. I mean, look, this is such a significant case. It is so important for the prosecutors to convict the person responsible for committing this murder. There is just a real strong need for deterrence here to send a clear message that anyone who commits acts of political violence will be held accountable. So these prosecutors need to not say or do anything to jeopardize their case, to prejudice the jury pool. You want to make sure, obviously, there is going to be a tremendous amount of pretrial publicity, but this in Utah, trials are publicized. There are cameras in the courtroom, unlike in federal court. So at every stage, including starting at the arraignment next week, there will be cameras in the courtroom. So do your talking in court, let your briefs, let what you're saying in court speak for yourself. Stay away from the media interviews, stay away from social media posts. You know, make sure he gets a fair trial so that you can protect your case and make sure that any conviction you get sticks, and that he doesn't have any course to say that he was treated unfairly. You know, an example here would be the Luigi Mangione case. In that case, the judge actually chastised the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, for talking about how that case fits into President Trump's agenda to fight violent crime and make America safe again. She said, hey, you've got to knock it off. Stop talking about the case. Keep it to the courtroom. And so I'm hoping that the prosecutors take heed in that case and take that message, you know, in this case as well.